Hello? Where am I? The sign says Portland, but it feels like Death Valley out there. Okay, at least the hottest day is behind us, so this is going to be an update on what's going to be happening the next couple of days in the Willamette Valley. In some areas, I do have a forecast change that you may or may not like, depending on how well you like the heat. So, National Weather Service watches and warnings: the Willamette Valley, Coast Range, the Columbia Basin, lower sections of Central Oregon, and the Washington Lowlands all are still under the excessive heat warning until Wednesday at 10 p.m. The Cascades, upper regions of Central Oregon are under a heat advisory till Thursday evening. The coast, the Northern Oregon coast heat advisory has been discontinued, and the red flag warning continues until Tuesday at 11 p.m. for high fire danger in those areas. So on to the record highs that occurred yesterday. In Troutdale, it hit 110 degrees. That is an August record. Portland and Vancouver both hit 108 degrees. That's an August record. And Hillsboro hit 107 degrees. That is an August record as well. For the locations that just experienced a daily record, McMinnville hit 106, Salem 105, Corvallis and Eugene hit 103, Redmond hit 102, and Astoria hit 95 degrees. And for context with this August records, the records primarily come from either a heat wave that occurred in 1981, which prior to 2021 produced Portland's all-time record high temperature of 107 degrees, or a heat wave in 1977. So that's some context. The other thing that was impressive about this heat wave is the Portland airport never made the shift towards the offshore flow like I was predicting. The winds were coming out of the northwest at the Portland airport most of the day, and typically even in a heat wave as severe as this, at least in the upper atmosphere, it rarely gets above 100 degrees and I've never seen it get above 103 to 104 in that setup. So to get to 108 with northwesterly winds is very impressive. And that's also with a little bit of smoke that moved in overhead too. Makes me think it possibly could have been even warmer or if we didn't have that smoke overhead. So moving on to the setup for these next coming days. So the high pressure system's already begun to migrate off the coast. It hasn't migrated though a whole lot, so it's still going to be close enough to produce triple digits for a majority of the Willamette Valley, at least if you're not expecting smoke. And I'll get into those areas here in a bit. The high pressure system will still move further to the west as we move into the next coming day. Now, because of this high pressure system moving to the west, that is what's going to cause the microclimates to kick in, and that relief is going to come to those specific areas like Corvallis starting tomorrow mid-afternoon. And for all areas in the Willamette Valley, I don't see a big threat for offshore/easterly winds going past midday tomorrow, and the winds that will occur tomorrow are going to be pretty light in nature, probably no more than 5, maybe gusts to 10 miles per hour. So moving on to the last daylight satellite imagery, so you can get a gauge on how thick the smoke is. I've seen images of people in Eugene and Springfield where the sky is orange. I think that kept the high temperature there down about 5 degrees, if not maybe 6 or 7, because of how thick the smoke was. Because you can see here, this is the thickest part of the smoke, and that is where both the bedrock and the lookout fires are. The smoke gets thinner, but it's still pretty thick as you go towards Corvallis and Salem, but then it gets thinner once you get into the Portland metro area, but it is still clearly present. It does make for some beautiful sunsets though. Oh, unfortunately, I do not have those images. Now, I don't expect the smoke to stick around the upper atmosphere, and on top of that, I don't think it'll stick around at the surface for very long, though there may be some isolated areas of poor air quality. So onto the forecast notes. Smoke overhead will be primarily Salem south, and I do not expect it should increase. Now, Thin smoke may occur anywhere up to Longview, especially as it's filtering out. Now, this is thick enough to keep highs down, I'd say up to 5 degrees, but lows higher a few degrees as a result. And it's expected to decrease from north to south because that fire is east of Eugene. If you're south of Eugene, unfortunately, I don't think there's going to be as much relief tomorrow. I don't think that relief will come until Wednesday or Thursday. Now, for the winds, again, the offshore flow is dying off in the northeastern valley, especially because that's the area that experienced the easterly and northeasterly winds the most. Though it was offshore winds for the rest of the Willamette Valley, except for the western northern parts of the Portland metro area, and most areas should shift towards a westerly or northwesterly winds, though as we saw today, that doesn't seem to cool down the temperatures a whole lot in this particular setup with how strong the ridge is. And again, microclimate effects kick in Tuesday, later today at 4 p.m. So on to the 7-day forecast. And for the Portland metro area, I'm anticipating one more daily record hot temperature today at 104 degrees, cooling off to 100 degrees on Wednesday, cooling off further on Thursday to 97 degrees, lows being in the upper 70s before more relief as we go into the weekend. And I don't expect temperatures to get back down to average highs until Monday. Low temperatures will be hovering right around 60 degrees, plus or minus a few degrees, depending on the day. Now, for the southern Willamette Valley, set with the temperature centered on Corvallis, I lowered the high temperature 3 degrees to 99 degrees because of the smoke that's thick overhead. I expect that to keep the high temperatures down 5 degrees in areas not affected by the microclimate in Corvallis. Because you are affected by the microclimates, I do think that will even out your high temperature towards what would have been expected for the rest of the Willamette Valley down there, but I still believe the microclimates will kick in. The low temperature, I did bump up a few degrees also because of the smoke, but I do expect that smoke to start to clear out on Wednesday, especially Corvallis northward. Eugene, I'm not as confident on that, so your high temperature may be a couple of degrees below it, but still plenty hot for this time of year before finally cooling off as we go into the weekend. And early next week, it looks like it may actually be slightly below average with highs in the upper 70s. Low temperatures I'm still expecting will hover right around 60 degrees for most of this period as the bedrock fire and lookout fires continue to burn and bring thin amounts of smoke lingering into the area, though I expect the primary direction of the smoke will not go towards the Willamette Valley in the long term. So that is it for this video. I should have one out tomorrow night. That I am planning that on that one being my last of the daily updates with this heat wave, but I can't guarantee that video is going to come out for sure. So assuming I can make that video tomorrow night, I will see you then. But regardless, stay safe and stay cool out there and take care.